CeeCee coming across as a spoiled brat in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage isn't happening in a vacuum, and that's what makes the shift so noticeable and so frustrating for some viewers. The show clearly isn't trying to turn her into a villain, but the way she's being written lately highlights a growing imbalance between her behavior and the consequences she faces. At this stage, CeeCee is surrounded by adults who constantly adjust themselves around her. Georgie and Mandy are both stretched thin, trying to prove they can make a young marriage work while also being responsible parents. In that chaos, CeeCee's wants start taking priority over boundaries. Instead of being guided, she's accommodated. That's where the spoiled perception really takes root, not in what she wants, but in how quickly everyone scrambles to give it to her. The show often frames CeeCee's outbursts or demands as cute, precocious, or emotionally justified, but it rarely pushes back hard enough. When she acts out, it's usually explained away as stress, adjustment, or growing pains, and while that's realistic to a point, it becomes a problem when there's no correction attached. Over time, that teaches her and the audience that her behavior is acceptable because of her circumstances, not in spite of them. What makes this more noticeable is how grounded the show is everywhere else. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage does a good job showing consequences for adult mistakes. Georgie messes up? He pays for it. Mandy pushes too hard? There's fallout. CeeCee, on the other hand, often escapes that cycle. She gets the emotional payoff without the emotional responsibility, which creates a disconnect. There's also the issue of mixed messaging. One parent tries to discipline, the other immediately softens it. One sets a rule, the other breaks it to keep the peace. CeeCee isn't stupid. She picks up on that instantly. The show subtly shows her learning how to play those gaps, even if it doesn't fully acknowledge it yet. That's where spoiled turns into entitled, and that's a dangerous line for a sitcom to walk without addressing it head-on. To be fair, the writers seem aware that something is off. CeeCee's behavior is escalating, not staying static. That usually signals an upcoming correction, either a wake-up call for Georgie and Mandy or a moment where CeeCee faces real limits for the first time. Sitcoms like this often let the problem grow before snapping it back into place with a lesson episode. The bigger issue isn't CeeCee herself, it's the parenting dynamic around her. She's being raised in an environment full of love but short on consistency. That doesn't make her bad, it makes her unchecked. And unchecked kids don't stay cute forever. If the show doesn't course correct, the humor risks turning into irritation because audiences are far more forgiving of flawed children than of adults who refuse to parent them. If Georgie and Mandy's first marriage handles this the right way, CeeCee's current behavior could actually become a strong storyline about young parents learning that love alone isn't enough. Ariana's arc in Landman worked because the show allowed discomfort and growth. CeeCee needs the same narrative honesty, real boundaries, real consequences, and real development. Right now, she's not unbearable, but she's heading there. Whether she stays a spoiled brat or becomes a well-rounded character depends entirely on whether the show is willing to stop excusing her behavior and start challenging it.